So I'm gonna start going through some things, and like I said before, if you have questions, just type them in, and I will get to them. But I have some things that I think are pretty common with questions that everybody has, so we'll start with those. The first thing is about the program. So the program is written as it's sort of as a jump start. It is a little bit, especially at the end, extreme. It is not something that is not an example of, oh, this is your lifestyle that you can maintain, and this is the way that you could work out. The workout is what I'm talking about mostly. It's not something that you can keep going for longer than 6 weeks. It's definitely something that's going to jumpstart you and then get into a more realistic workout routine. So just know that as you're going through, is that this is maximizing the output of your caloric burn, and not something that you're going to be expectable if you have to work out like this if you want to be in good shape, because that is not the case. So just know that going in. If you've looked ahead to see what it entails, it starts off, the first couple of weeks are not so bad. The rest intervals will continue to go down on the second week of each week of the program, and you'll start adding in more cardio, more abdominal work, and then the last week, even a separate session of cardio, that's a lot, even for somebody who takes it very seriously like myself. That's a lot to ask for, but it will definitely jumpstart your metabolism, and at the end of this, you can go back to a more maintenance type program and be very successful. So just know that going in. So I just mentioned lifestyle. I've had some specific comments that I'll get to later, but just know that what we're trying to get here is we're trying to build a new way for you to think about your health, for you to think about the way that you live your life, and the way that you think about your food and your activity. So you can have all of those things and not have to feel like this program, which is I have to do something extreme to have fitness and health that I can't maintain, and then I will go off for some length of time. I will have, I will lose my fitness, lose part of my health, get to some part where I can't stand it anymore, and then ramp it back up. So that's kind of an old school, 80s, 90s, old school bodybuilding mentality of I'm going to peak for something, and then I'm going to let it really go to hell, and then I'm going to try and pick up the pieces and peak for another thing. So that is not what we're doing. We're going to jumpstart metabolism and then get into a healthy lifestyle where you start to make informed choices that allow you to make those choices and live and be healthy and be lean all the time, which is the way that I live my life now. Where years I was doing, I have this thing I have to get ready for, so I will do this extreme get ready for it, and then I can't possibly maintain it, and then the crash from afterwards it would be horrible and very unhealthy. So I would assume one thing, a mental note going into this program, is that if you feel that your health is not optimal, if you are not lean with great energy, sleeping well, mood even and happy, if those are not things that are common for you and easy for you, then I would say that what you're doing in your life right now is not working, because those should be things that you can have. And most of those things are tied to diet and exercise, all of those things really. So this program is going to show you a different way of thinking about those things. So start to really look at it as this is a way I can start living my life, as opposed to this is something I'm going to dabble into and then go back to what I was doing. One thing that I would say is most people that I've trained in the past, and a lot of people that come to these challenges, are thinking, I like the way that I work out. I like the way that I eat. I do all the things that I like to do. It all fits into my budget and into my lifestyle and into my time frame. It fits into my personal schedule. It's very difficult when you live with someone that now you have to coordinate meals that you're eating with the meals that they're eating, and that's another obstacle to you eating what you need to eat. And so you're doing all of those things, and what you're doing now fits in all of those ways, but you don't look good or you don't feel good. So you're hoping that I will say, oh yeah, what you're doing is 99% great. Here's one small tweak and everything is going to suddenly start working. Chances are that's not the case. The chances are you're probably making you need to make some shifts, and that's the whole reason why you're here. So really look at this program as a way to learn the way that you can shift and adapt a new type of lifestyle. It takes about 6 weeks for you to get a new habit formed. So this can be a way for you to break out of that old cycle and get a new cycle built in. So those are sort of the overarching themes of the program I wanted to get to. And now specifically, let's start talking about the diet. The diet, everyone gets very excited about the exercise program. I love to exercise. I mean, exercising for me is actually kind of easy because I look forward to it and I like it. The dieting part is much harder. It's also 80% of your success rate in life for your health is going to be dictated by your diet and what you eat. So you have to be diligent and you have to be on top of what's going into your body. The workout will be the extra 20% that will kind of fill in the gaps. You know, you can play with the margins a little bit with the workout, but if you're not eating correctly, you will not see success. It's just plain and simple. So you have got to get this TDEE figured out and get your macro breakdown figured out. And that's the first and most important thing. I've done something in the TDEE I wanted to say really quick, which is when I do one-on-one training with people, I can make that a much more specific number. When I'm doing it in a program where there's lots of people, I've tried to make it as easy as possible and take out as much of the math as I can so that there's less chance for mistakes. And also to get it very accurate, you need a very accurate body fat measurement, which not everybody has. So it should work fantastically for all of you, unless you are really, really, really overweight. And I do have people that come into the program that are 80, 90, 100 pounds overweight. If that's you, email me at ronmatthews.training.com and let's adjust your TDEE because it's going to be a little too high in protein and a little too high in calories for you because you have so much inert weight. But if you're an average person who's, you know, anywhere from 20 to 40 to 50 pounds overweight, it'll work great, perfectly. So that's the first thing I was gonna say. Find out your TDEE. Find out how many calories your body needs in a day. And then we have our low carb days and our high carb days. Get your macro breakdowns and track your food. There's no way you're going to be successful in any kind of a diet if you don't know exactly what's going in your body. You cannot guess. You cannot just say, oh yeah, well, I'm eating salad, so therefore I'm eating healthy. Well, a whole food salad can be 1,500 calories and more than half of it coming from fat, easily. So just because you're eating a salad or you're eating something that you think is a diet food, that cannot be enough. You need to know exactly what's in that. You need to weigh and measure your food. Spend this time doing that. Once you get an idea of how much 4 ounces of chicken is, how much 8 ounces of steak is, how much 1 serving of spinach, which I like to eat, and how much of that is what the macros of 1 ounce or 10 ounces of spinach is. Once you have those things, then you can start eyeing it in the future and you have an idea of, okay, I need this much and this is how much it is. And if it's a little off, I'm doing maintenance, it's not the end of the world. But when in the beginning, you have to know every part of it. So that's the trickiest part about the beginning of this program, especially, is weighing and measuring the food. If you do My Fitness app, which is what I use, it's got a scanner. So if you're eating something that has that came in a package, or a lot of times in a menu, you can add in something and it will give it to you. Easy. If not, you're gonna have to add it in individually. And it's a little time consuming in the beginning, especially until you build your own library of the foods that you eat. So it'll take half an hour or so a day to get your calories in. If you don't do that, it's gonna be a hard road for you. That's gonna be the most important thing in the beginning, the first week especially, is really starting to look at what those macros are, how it breaks down, and how that food is going to break down when I'm going to eat my carbs before and after my workout, how I'm going to do that, how I'm going to carry my food with me. I'm going to have to plan ahead. So you need to do some sort of meal prep and have some food that you can know that you can eat in the fridge, so that when that's ready to eat and your time to eat it is there, that food is ready. If you're waiting until you're hungry and thinking, okay, now what can I eat? And you're going to the fridge and you're looking, you're setting yourself up for failure. So plan ahead on what you can eat. Here are the meals that I'm going to have. I'm going to already have them in. I'm going to have the ingredients ready to go. I'm going to make a pot of, like, for me, I'll make a stir-fried chicken with vegetables, and I'll make a bunch of it on a Sunday. It'll be 6 in my fridge. I have 6 containers of it. And so every time I know I need a food that's low carb, that's the one. I have another thing that I make with ground up bison and hamburger and rice, and that's my high carb meal. And I make some of that. I have that in Tupperwares in my fridge. So it's quick, it's easy, it fills my macros, and it's tasty. So start finding what those things are for you and how you like them. There's some examples in the pamphlet of some foods and some diet foods. It's hard for me to go with diet foods because people's palates are so different. So as much time, I mean, you can write books and books and books on it and still not cover. People will go, well, there's nothing in here for me. So it's easier for me just to try and guide you in the overall what you're looking for and have you pick it for yourself. So that's going to be the most important thing in the beginning. I had to question before about cheat days. So cheat days kind of goes back to this old school bodybuilding mentality of I'm gonna do really good, and then I'm gonna reward myself with being really bad. The thing with this diet, with this way of eating, is that I can eat what I want when I want. So if I want a hamburger, I can have a hamburger. I just have to find where it fits into my macros. And if I have it in my macros and I account for it, I see what else I have to eat in that day, and I can adjust accordingly. So it isn't that I don't have to feel like I'm cheating. I just have to make sure that I put it in. If you're going to really go off the rails and have something that is, chicken and waffles, and you're going to eat a lot of it, and something that's like super high carb, super high sugar, it's never going to work in your macros. You're definitely going to go over if you eat it. Yes, okay, that can be something that you have on a special occasion. Mark it, put it down. Probably not the best to do in this 6 weeks. Try and stay away from those obvious no cheats. But in your regular life, if that's something you want to do on a weekend, it will fit into your macros, get right back into your regular macros the next day, and you'll be fine. So don't think of it as I said before, this is a lifestyle. This is not something that you're going to do for a short amount of time and then suddenly go, okay, now I'm going to flip back out of it and do something else. I have a question here about supplements. I don't take very many supplements. I take a multivitamin. I take protein powder. So a protein powder is something that you're probably going to want to look into. And I get mine at Costco. It's nothing fancy. And you want to make sure you look on the back and make sure that it is a high protein, a low amount of carbs, and a low amount of sugar, and a low amount of fat. Maybe under 3 or 4 grams of fat per serving, under 5 or 6 grams of carbs, and most of that will be sugar. So make that as low as possible, and like that's something you can scan right to your app. That will be a great way for you to get your protein in and for you to hit some of these protein numbers, especially if you're not used to eating protein with every meal, which you should. You might have trouble getting to your total protein in the day without having a protein supplement. So that's going to be something you want to look into. Just know that some protein supplements are actually meal replacements. So when you look on the back and it's 220 or 230 calories and there's 30 grams of carbs and 20 grams of protein and 15 grams of fat, that's a meal replacement shake. That's a little different. It's probably not going to work long term in your macros because it's going to be too much carbs for you to spend on a protein shake when you can just have the protein and not be, those carbs and the fat are currency. So on your low carb days, you have a little bit of extra fat, but you have to be really diligent about those carbs because if you blow too many of them in one meal, you're going to run out of how much you have in a day. And same with the fat. On that high carb day, you have a low fat. It's really easy to go over that fat. It's because a lot of the protein will have some fat in it. And if you have anything else that's a little, not the best thing for you, you'll go right over those fat. So make sure you really earn those carbs. Make sure that you really are taking care of that on those different days, the low carb and the high carb days. I went over meal prepping. One thing you might want to think about is this: the idea of a meal is, growing up, the idea of a meal was, meat, potatoes, vegetables. It was like a 3-pronged thing that this is what I'm going to have as a meal. And I notice sometimes that people kind of go to like, I need to have that because that's what I think of as a meal. A meal is just time that you're feeding your body. That's something that you like to eat that is fitting into your macros. So I often have steak, and sometimes I'll have steak with nothing else, just steak, and sometimes I'll have steak with a vegetable like spinach. And that's my meal. I don't have, especially on my low carb days, I'm not having carbs. Carbs are easy for me to get. It's easy for you to put some protein, some rice, and when I need the carbs, to have them there. So I don't have to put them on the plate in order to have the meal. So I get used to the idea of a meal of, a salad with chicken on it is a great meal. And that's a relatively low carb meal. And depending on the dressing, it can be a low fat meal. So change the idea of what you think of as a meal. All right, so that looks like all of my diet questions that I wanted to go through. So now, lastly, I want to go through the workout. So the workout, without getting too much into the, so I want you to learn what intensity is. And the intensity of the workout is that we're trying to create a higher heart rate than you probably are used to when you work out. So a lot of people go in, and if you're doing cardio, they want to get their heart rate in like the 120, 130 range and stay there. That's great if you're doing steady state cardio and you're just trying to burn fat. For the workout, I want you to push so that your heart rate, like lower the rest so that the heart rate is a little higher than that. I want your heart rate to be around about 150 when you're lifting the weights. So it's going to feel more anaerobic and less, like this is not something that I could, that I'm easily doing. I want you to feel like you're pushing. So that being said, there's time rest intervals on the workout, and I want you to really stick to those. That's going to be the hardest part about the workout, is you're going to be doing, let's say on a push-pull day, you're doing some kind of a press, some kind of a pull. Those need to be as quick as you can get. So I finished doing the press, I walk 5 or 6 steps, I do my pull, it was less than 15 seconds, I do that set, then I take my minute rest. I go back and do the push again. So depending on your gym and how busy it is and the time of day you work out, that may be difficult for you, because what I've written is a lat pull down, and in your gym, the lat pull down is all the way across the gym, and the press that you need is on the other side, and you can't keep going back and forth and maintain the interval, or someone cuts in on you and you don't have the equipment. So use a little forethought and just see the structure of the program, which is, if he wants me to do a pull and I can't get to that pull, so I'm going to do this pulling instead. So I can't get to the lat pull machine, but this low row machine is right next to the press machine, so I'm going to do that instead. And I can maintain that. It's more important to maintain the rest interval than to do the workout as written. I had somebody in a challenge not too long ago who was like, I'm loving these workouts. It's so great to get in the gym. These 3 and 4 hour workouts really feel great on my body. And I was like, 3 or 4 hours? This workout should be taking you 45 minutes tops to get done. You need to get through it. The weight should be enough so that if you can't get the reps, the weights are too heavy. If you're getting the reps and your heart rate isn't high, the weight is too light. So you need to find the weight that is challenging to get the reps in, but you can keep going on getting all the reps written with that very short interval. And the second week, the intervals get shorter. So that's going to be the challenge of the workout, is to really push yourself to keep moving. There's almost no downtime in the workout. Now it'll be longer if you add in the warm-up, if you add in abs and you add in some cardio after the workout, then we're looking at more like an hour 15. But that weight workout should not take you more than 40 minutes, sometimes 45. So just know that going in. The ab protocols. Everybody wants to get into the ab protocols. If you read through the ab protocols, I'm pretty specific there about, just remember, doing abs does not make you have a six-pack stomach. You already have a six-pack stomach. All those muscles, that musculature is in your body. You just can't see it because it's covered up with your abdominal fat. So the diet is where you're going to see the cuts in your abs. Building up your ab wall is very great. It's going to be great for your back. It's going to be great for your lifting. It will speed up how fast you see. As I say in the guide, it increases the size of the mountain. The diet increases the depth of the valley. So it will show you more. Your cuts and your lines in your stomach will get more defined by doing the program and by doing abs. But if you're thinking that doing some ab program is what's going to give you the abs, it's going to be more the diet than the ab program. That's the first thing. The second thing is those ab protocols are very difficult, very difficult. Even at my absolute best, I struggle to get through the fourth one and the fifth one. It's very, very difficult. So I have someone who's like, yeah, well, I busted through the first two in the first day, and by the end of the week, I'm already through. I need 5 more protocols because that fifth one I've already done, and it's super easy. It's like if you're finding that, you're not doing it right. They are very difficult. If you stick to the proper form, the proper tempo, and the proper rest intervals, they should be very challenging. So read through the program and really make sure that form on everything that you do. Form is going to be the key. There's videos to everything where you can see proper form if you have any questions on it. And you're welcome also to email me. So my email, which I've sent into everyone's email, ronmatthews.training@gmail.com. You can ask me questions. I'll get back to you pretty quickly, and let me know if you have any others that I didn't cover. That's all that I have, and I've gotten all the ones that I see here. So if you have any other questions, email me. Otherwise, it's very exciting. It's going to be a lot, but you can get some great results in 6 weeks, especially if you can really stick to that TDEE, stick to your macros, and stick to the intervals of the workout. You're going to see a huge, huge, huge difference. All right. Good luck, and I will talk to you soon.